The paperwork took less time than I expected. Weeks of negotiation, years of memories, reduced to signatures and numbers that didn't feel connected to anything real. 20 million sat in an account that still felt temporary, like it belonged to someone else who hadn't arrived yet. The house, my father's house, was gone. I thought I would feel relief. Instead, it was quieter than that. A kind of absence I couldn't name. I told only one person. He didn't react the way people usually do. No congratulations, no excitement, just a pause, then, "Don't tell your family." I thought he meant wait. Be careful. But he shook his head. "Tell them you lost everything." I laughed at first. It sounded unnecessary. Dramatic. Why would I do that? He looked at me in a way that made the question feel incomplete. "Because it will show you what you've been ignoring." I didn't understand. But I trusted him. I told them 2 days later. Not in one announcement. Just gradually, through calls and conversations. A bad investment. Legal complications. Things didn't work out. I kept it simple. At first, there was silence. Then concern. Then something else. My uncle was the first to shift. "You should have consulted someone," he said, his tone tightening. "These things require experience." I nodded, even though the sale had been handled professionally, carefully. My cousin stopped replying to messages. An aunt who used to call every week suddenly became busy. It wasn't immediate, it wasn't obvious. That was what made it harder to dismiss. The requests stopped, that was the clearest change. Before, there were always small expectations. Help with something, advice. Occasional financial support disguised as temporary need. I never minded. It felt like responsibility. Like staying connected. Now there was nothing. No one asked. But no one offered anything either. I started noticing the way conversations shortened. The way my situation became a quiet inconvenience. At a family dinner, someone mentioned an investment opportunity, then glanced at me and said, "Well, maybe not relevant." It wasn't cruel, just adjusted. As if I had been moved into a different category without discussion. The moment that stayed with me wasn't loud. It happened in the hallway after another dinner. I overheard my brother speaking to someone on the phone. "No, he's not in a position to help anymore," he said. Honestly, I don't know what he was thinking. There was no anger in his voice. Just dismissal. That landed deeper than anything else. I didn't confront anyone. There was nothing to argue with. They hadn't done anything overtly wrong. They had just recalculated. A month later, there was a meeting. My father had left behind more than the property. There were remaining assets, legal structures that needed to be finalized. The kind of things that required everyone's presence. Or at least their acknowledgement. We gathered in a conference room. Lawyers, documents, quiet formality. This time no one avoided me. They just didn't expect anything from me. That was the difference. The lawyer began outlining the final distribution. Names. Percentages, clarifications, then he paused. "There is one additional matter," he said, glancing down at the file. "A small shift in the room," he continued. "The primary estate transfer, including the recently liquidated property, has been fully assigned." I saw my uncle straighten slightly. My brother leaned forward. "To whom?" someone asked. The lawyer looked up. "To him." A brief silence, not confusion, more like a delay in processing. "That's not," my uncle started, then stopped. The lawyer remained calm. "All documentation is complete. The sale proceeds were secured prior to reported financial loss." No one spoke after that. Not immediately. Because the room had already changed. Not dramatically. Just undeniably. I didn't say anything. There was no need to explain. No need to correct what had been said about me over the past month. The facts were enough. Across the table, I noticed small adjustments. Posture. Eye contact. Tone. Not apologies. Just awareness. After the meeting, a few of them approached me. "Carefully, we didn't realize. You should have told us. It must have been stressful." I nodded where appropriate. Listened. But something had already settled. Later I sat with my friend. "You were right," I said. "He didn't ask for details, he didn't need them. It's not about what they said," I added. "It's about what Shane said." He nodded. "That's always where the truth is." I didn't cut anyone off. That would have been easier. Instead, I adjusted. I stopped filling silences. Stopped offering more than what was given. Stopped assuming closeness where there was only familiarity. The money remained what it was. Useful. Significant. But no longer the center of anything. What stayed with me was quieter than that. A clearer sense of where I stood, not in their eyes. In my own. And that didn't feel like a victory. Just accurate.